Yeah, we're just moving some things around. Oh, okay. So we'll put the paper back. Table. What's up?
Hello. That's not also.
I love it.
Yeah, that's good. That's her whole. She's gonna get stressed about that.
I love that for you.
Anything else from your end?
I'm good, thank you.
What?
Yes, I think there's something wrong with your speakers. Because Sean's working.
My computer.
Yeah, your speakers.
Well, it didn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, cool. Sounds like.
I'll just wait here until you have a minute.
Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm doing like 4 drops.
No, I'm just looking at all this stuff, and it makes no sense.
So,
It doesn't tell you where anything is or what I'm supposed to go to,
Yeah,
or
so
like
go
I'm
ahead.
confused.
this is where you click to enter the hop-in at 10 a.m. So just click on that by 10 a.m. Oh, it's the wrong. Okay. Hold on. Yeah. Let me stop track. That's what I'm-
Is
So
that?
that's
is-
just a broken link. So let me.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I was like, I'm doing something wrong.
No, you're not. That's a broken link for you.
Okay. Okay. So I'll go back and refresh.
Goes to Women in Tech. Summit instead of Academy.
Right, which is over. So that's why it didn't make
Exactly.
sense.
Okay, I've sent that to Trent. And
Okay.
He's gonna get on it.
Okay.
then-
And so, but that's where I click.
Exactly.
And so what you're saying is I just stay there the
Yeah,
whole
so
day?
you'll stay there and you'll see on the left there will be like virtual rooms to go into. And so are you like the mentor or the mentee side of it?
Mentee side.
Mentee side, yes. So I think you're the one who's moving around to meet with mentors. And
So when I click on that one link, where will I see the other rooms?
it will be like on the left side of the screen. You'll
on
see
the
it all
left
there.
side. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be
It'll
all
be
there.
more
It's
obvious.
really, it's a lot more intuitive once you get into it. Yeah, you're welcome. So for your live demo, let me think about how to do that.
So it's not thinking about
I would love it.
I figured.
Yeah, so do you want to email? Have you sent me the slides yet?
No, I didn't know. Actually, I didn't have no information about the process.
I completely, yeah, you're completely and what I'll do, so I'll get you a clicker. And
Actually,
it'll,
would it be? Is that just missing?
yes, but I need it to stay on this because I'm streaming so right now, so it needs to stay. But what I do, once I get the slides, if you just email them to me, I'll throw it up here and then I'll just follow along with the virtual audience. So I'll be quick.
The only thing I want is somebody with small businesses, with startups.
It doesn't matter. He wants to. Okay.
Hello. Hey, Ori. How's it going, man?
Hello. Yeah. So,
Good to see you.
Nice to see you, man.
So what will happen is Jess will get up and introduce the day.
I like the t-shirt.
She'll introduce Ben. We'll talk for about 5 minutes.
Got it?
And then Jess will get back up and introduce you.
Got it.
Yeah, that's all it works. So we're gonna start. Right? Yep. Microphones.
Let's get started.
Yeah. You want to go outside? Yeah. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to day 3 of Defense Academy. I am Jessica Steinhoff again.
And I'm Jorge Manresa, VP for Federal and Defense Academy here at Capital Factory.
And I am your SkillBridge Fellow right here with CDI.
Awesome. So I want to just take a quick moment to just thank everybody for coming into the 3rd day where we're going to be talking about transitions here at Defense Academy and how we can find great opportunities for you as well with a lot of the different partners that we have from Air Force. We have partners from Army that are going to be talking about what opportunities they have. We also have some partners from some third parties, Turbo Cyber, which is super exciting.
Super exciting.
That we're going to be talking about today. And then we also have, we're going to be wrapping up the day with UTD, with what their program is for technology transitions. And then also, not only the great program they have, but opportunities for actually licensing a few ideas that they actually have available to a lot of our entrepreneurs. So for you guys in the audience, you want to stick around for that, especially as I believe it's going to be about 11 o'clock. And there will be some online voting. So those votings will take the popular vote, and UTD will look forward to reaching out to many of you to see if those opportunities are a great match for you to kind of accelerate whatever you have in your portfolios. Now, we also have Epic Office Hours, which is going to be online. So do not forget that. I know several of you have signed up. Really looking forward to that. We have a lot of our partners in there, several of our mentors across different corporations, government. And actually for this one, I'm going to be in Epic Office Hours as well. So I'm really looking forward to the few folks that I'll be able to provide some mentoring to today. Really hoping that I can be of great value to you, as well as my other colleagues at Epic Office Hours. So, I mean, Jess, it's going to be a pretty exciting day, don't you think?
Very exciting day. So for Epic Office Hours, you want to make sure you're tuned into your emails from Truett. That's where you're going to find your link so you can hop into your call. Those are going to be 90-minute sessions. So if you don't have the information on that, make sure you reach out to one of us here on the team, or you find your email from Truett, because that's very, very valuable. That's something only that Capital Factory does. So we just want to make sure you capitalize on that. That's how you're going to end your day virtually with your teaming partner there. So one thing I think Jorge might have missed was our session with AFRL and Rome Labs. That's going to be a virtual session. So don't forget about that. That's going to be a really great opportunity. I think you also talked about AFWorks. AFWorks is going to come in and they're going to talk about everything that they're doing. We've got our partner here that's in the building. So he's going to talk about everything AFWorks is doing. So we've got a really, really exciting day planned for our 3rd day of Defense Academy. We're very excited about you online. So don't forget, you can pop in your questions in the chat. Erica is going to make sure she's watching that. And if you have questions here in the room, come up to the mic, let us know, because we are really, really excited that everyone has joined us here. So the content has been really, really exciting, and we are really, really happy to deliver it to you guys today. So we've got Ben Hansen from Deloitte. So we'd like to welcome him to the stage for his opening comments.
All right.
This one green is on.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, thank you. All right, good morning, everyone. I wanted to take a moment to welcome you all to the 3rd and final day of Defense Academy and to introduce myself and what we do at Deloitte. So I'm Ben Hansen. I'm a manager in Deloitte's strategy and analytics practice, and I lead our Deloitte Exploration Lab, which is located here in the Capitol Factory on the 5th floor. Prior to joining Deloitte, I spent several years in strategic business development and operational roles at startups out in the Silicon Valley. I was part of the team that launched and operationalized the first US city market for Uber Eats, where I was responsible for supply balance and incentive programs. In my most recent role prior to Deloitte, I directed global business development and network operations teams for a leading drone delivery startup called Matternet. In this role, I was responsible for the company's go-to-market efforts, strategic partnerships, network operations, and investment fundraising. I say all this to sort of, express my DNA as a startup person by nature. This is something that really excites me in my role currently here at Deloitte. As part of the Exploration Lab, what really excites our team is how companies like ours, like Deloitte, can integrate successfully into very robust technology ecosystems like the one that we have here in Austin. So as I mentioned, right, I run the Deloitte Exploration Lab, and I wanted to take a few minutes to introduce you all, give you an overview about what it is that we do. We're a team of technologists, strategy and analytics practitioners, and data scientists, and we're charged with helping to accelerate Deloitte's bold plays across the AI machine learning landscape through a variety of different things that I would categorize as ecosystem engagement, rapid prototyping efforts, and immersive technology experiences. Deloitte established the Exploration Lab back in 2018, really to build critical relationships within the technology community here in Austin, after Texas and Austin specifically was identified as a very clear convergence point for both government and technology innovation. So as a physical space, again, here on the 5th floor of the Capitol Factory, what our team is able to do is facilitate opportunities for both our clients, our company, as well as partners and teaming companies to interact with a variety of different cutting edge solutions and ultimately get to a point of accelerating applied innovation within their operating models. A few examples of this. So our data science team engages across all areas of the federal government, state and local government, and rapid prototyping sprints to help create proofs of concept and solutions to some of our clients' most pressing problems. As part of this journey, Deloitte is fundamentally committed to partnerships with both startups, academia, government institutions to bring best-in-class solutions to our clients. We have several collaborations and working relationships here in Austin, specifically within the four walls of the Capitol Factory, organizations like the Army Applications Lab. And I want to encourage everyone today, all the participants, to reach out, engage not only with our Deloitte teams, but as well with each other and the defense innovation units that are present here today. Today's programming, as Jorge and Erica mentioned, is focused on technology transition and opportunities, and will include overview presentations from a few of the leading defense innovation units, including AFWERX, Army Applications Lab, and the Innovare Air Force Research Lab, to name a few. You're also going to have the opportunity to participate in a reverse pitch series and attend Epic Office Hours later this afternoon. I, for one, will be a part of that, so I very much look forward to meeting some of you then. This is going to give you the opportunity to engage in speed networking, mentoring sessions with a host of different entrepreneurs and mentors across the Capitol Factory Innovation Network. So with all that said, again, I wanted to welcome you again. Thank you for joining us here at Defense Academy. We're excited for what Day 3 has in store and hope you all enjoy. And again, don't forget to come see us on the 5th floor. So thank you.
All right. Thanks, Ben. This is really awesome. Again, I appreciate you guys sponsoring our Defense Academy.
Absolutely.
I know a lot of people online, and earlier this week, the people here in the audience have gained a whole lot. So we obviously couldn't have done it without you guys.
Absolutely.
And super excited to provide these opportunities and hopefully grow from your feedback as we kind of grow Defense Academy and really hone in on what's important to the entrepreneur and to our IC council members as well. So thanks a lot, Ben. I really appreciate you.
You got it. Thank you, Jorge.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, we're going to be moving right along. What we're going to introduce to you is something that we alluded to earlier this week, their TurboTax style way of writing proposals for a lot of the solicitations that are being put out or BAAs that are being put out by our different defense partners, be it Army, be it Air Force, even possibly Navy. So I don't want to take any more of his time, but I want to introduce Rupak of Turbo Cyber. He's going to take a few minutes to just talk about a really great technology and opportunity. Come on, yep, come on, Rupak. Awesome. So I'm just going to turn the mic over to you, and the stage is yours. So you got a few minutes. There you go.
Thanks a lot, Jorge. So thank you so much, Jorge. It's always pretty awesome to be back in Capital Factory. We're actually a San Diego-based company, so every opportunity we get to come out here to Austin is always pretty awesome for us. So yeah, like Jorge mentioned, our overall mission as a company is to centralize all of federal grants and contracts in one place. So the problem that we're after is basically one that almost every entrepreneur and government personnel actually has identified at some point in their lifetime, which is basically that the current system is actually biased in some way towards folks who've understood and figured out how to do this, as opposed to folks who actually might actually be meritorious to actually be the right people to do the job in opposite. So what we want to really do is we want to actually level the playing field for pretty much everybody to be a more democratized system, in the sense that we want to use technology to actually surface all of the applicants that could be actually the right fit for solving that problem statement from the government, as opposed to folks who they might just get just because they're at the right place at the right time serendipitously. And so what we do and how we help is essentially in three fronts, which is we first help applicants find the right opportunities to go after, which are the right fits for them. Secondly, we help with the proposal creation and document preparation process so that everything is compliant and high quality and similar across all the entire ecosystem. And then lastly, we help create those collaborations and the differentiation opportunities so that the money actually goes towards a more diverse set of technologies, as opposed to some kind of overlap where it's not probably the best use of funds in some given way. And so I'll talk to you a little bit about these things. So the first one about finding new opportunities, since this is Defense Academy and I am here to kind of help you even understand every other resource that's out there for you guys. First, I'll talk to you a little bit about what else is out there for you to actually look at, which is there's federal-wide databases like grants.gov and sam.gov. There's agency-specific databases, and this is like you can go into DCIP for DoD, you can go into NIH's database for health-related stuff, and so on and so forth. And then there's CIBR and CIDR specific. That database is on CIBR.gov for opportunities, right? So these are all in different places, and they all have their own UI, UXs, and their own nuances, and their own problems, but they do exist, and they are absolutely free for you to use. So you can go ahead and use them. What we've done is actually we solved the problem of folks having to go to different places for different things, and we brought all the databases in one place. And what we've done is given you filters to filter out what you may or may not be interested in. So there's a filter for contracts, for grants, and for CIBRs. So it's very simple, and it's all one simple UI UX to use. And that's a full keyword search, and you can sign up for automated notifications, and it's all completely free to use. The second thing we did was to solve the problem that most applicants who are probably first-timers, they don't actually even know what keywords to use to search for things, because some of these government solicitations are written in a language that most entrepreneurs, for example, don't actually understand. And so we took that at least we wanted to take that completely off the table. And so what we did is created an engine where you can take a bio of your idea or your company, and it uses AI and NLP to actually shortlist the top 10 best hits for your company or your area of research, for example, from the 100,000 plus open opportunities. And so here is an example. I went into Capital Factory's portfolio, took the first company that I found, took their Crunchbase bio, and you see the hits that are out there that seem to be pretty relevant to what they're doing. So it works really well. And also it is completely free to use, no credit card needed. So it's a great thing for the community. Go ahead and use away. And we're not the only ones who say that this is awesome, just FYI. We have some pretty awesome people who use it and love it. All right, so the second thing about writing a good proposal. Now, I could talk to you all day as a consultant to tell you how to write a good proposal, but that's not really what a technology platform would do, right? So yes, you can be really responsive. I can teach you how to like keep it simple where it's needed, go deep where it's needed. And then there are some sections that need to be repeated in strategic areas because not every element of the proposal gets read by the same people. And also at the end, you have to remember that you have to draw this very clear line between something that's mundane, that's interesting, or what's moonshot, and understand what needs which kind of content. But as a technology company, what we've started doing is we've actually started putting a lot of this insight and consultant type of information into automated streamlined workflows. And so again, this is where we start leveling the playing field and not bias the industry towards maybe folks who are able to get that sort of high level help, but and folks who cannot maybe afford sometimes the high level help. So solicitation specific workflows is something we've built out where regardless of which solicitation you want to go after, all the compliance stuff and all the requirements are all already laid out for folks to go through it in a TurboTax style manner, tab by tab. It's got all the templates, all the samples, benchmarks, and compliance checks for you to use. Second thing we've done is we've begun to actually automate the act of professional grant writing or proposal writing. This is a pretty, crazy task for anyone to think about, especially like when we started doing this, pretty much everyone in the industry was completely not with us in terms of like the possibility that if this is even doable. But at least we've shown for the past year or so that we can get to it in a large extent. So what we've done to start off with this is we've created a Q&A sort of a format where the software will actually ask you some of the questions that typically writers will ask you when they start writing out your proposal, professional writers. And so they'll ask you those questions. You as an entrepreneur are the best person to answer those questions. Nobody else on the planet can answer those questions better than you as an applicant. And so you answer those questions, and we have the software actually automatically puts that content in context of the proposal requirements. That's the first thing we've done towards automating this process. The next thing we're doing is actually using AI again to build out more and more content for your proposal. So another trick that a lot of writers will use is they will go and hunt similar publications in your space and paraphrase a lot of different kinds of articles into a coherent format for your proposal. So again, we're trying to automate that process here where we take like statements from your answers that you provide to questions and then build content based on that. So that's some of the steps we're taking to start to automate this process of professional writing, proposal writing. And then obviously, till we get there, we do provide a professional writer if people want it, till we actually get to full automation. But what we've done is we've provided this at minimal cost. Like we want to make sure that cost is not the reason why applicants cannot get the help. And so we have options for completely $0 upfront, that you don't have to pay us anything and you still get all the help that you might need to apply competitively for these proposals. And the last thing I'll finish with is our section on collaboration and differentiation. So this is a new feature we're building out. So think about this essentially as a platform where you are able to find all the relevant companies, researchers, innovation ecosystem members, etc., in your space that you can start to collaborate with, and you can start to track for keeping yourselves highly differentiated. And so that's where we start to really make sure that the government money is spread in a way that they're actually funding unique things as much as possible so that the money is spent in the most efficient way as possible towards fostering innovation in the country. And so some of the use case scenarios you see on the top right there. And so we like to make this analogy is like normally you think of it as a maze where you don't really know where you're going because you can't see past your immediate vicinity. But what we're doing is converting that maze into more of a map where you can actually go and you can actually track where you're going as an innovation in the innovation landscape, if you will. And so finally, take-home messages, try our funding opportunity recommendation engine. It's pretty awesome and it's completely free. And get on the wait list for our collaboration and differentiation platform. So with that, I'll hand back to you, Jorge.
Awesome, Rupak. I cannot believe just, having been in government contracting and started with, AFWorks with the SBIR program and how we flipped that script. It's always been kind of this conundrum. And even after 20 years of contracting, how do we automate some of the proposal processes so we can help bring left that schedule for actually not only putting out proposals, but writing proposals, right? That adds a lot of time when we have to wait 2-3 months give people time to write it. But with the technology you're bringing, I mean, it's awesome. You're an entrepreneur who has now brought forth automation to the proposal process to help save time. And that doesn't only help the entrepreneur, that helps the government. Because if we want to get more solutions for us to take a look at, and we don't have to keep it open for 2-3 months at a time waiting for contracts, and you can automate that and say, we're only going to need it open for 2 weeks, right? That helps the government really accelerate their process in really getting America's seed fund out. So, hats off to you for the work that you're doing. You have a great service and, an entrepreneur yourself. So you're also growing your solution, and hopefully the government, once they see this, they might be able to see some internal applications for the type of work and programming that you do. So for all you guys out in the audience here live or virtually, look at TurboCiber, great opportunity. If you're a little bit daunted as to how to write it, by hand and get it all done, obviously he's got an automated process that could help expedite and maybe make it just a little bit less daunting as you venture into the world of federal contracting. So awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks
I appreciate
so much,
you. Yep. And now I'm going to welcome to the stage, a good friend of mine and also a great partner here at Capital Factory, Colonel Riddler. He goes, it's Colonel Salinas, but call sign Riddler. And he is the director for AFWorks Austin, right down here on the first floor. So Riddler, thanks for coming in today, and I'll give you the microphone to you so you can talk about opportunities and a little bit about AFWorks.
All right, thanks, Jorge, and thank you to the community for having me out here to talk about a little bit about what AFWorks is all about. So again, my name is Martin Salinas. I also go by the call sign Riddler. I ask a lot of questions. Really good habit of that. But I just want to tell you a little bit about what we do. So just a little bit about my background. So I do have the distinct pleasure of the opportunity to lead the great team here at the Capital Factory for AFWorks. And, a lot of folks ask us, what does AFWorks do? And can you tell me a little bit about it? So I'll give you just a brief outline. So we have several lines of effort. We see ourselves as, with great humility to say we are an innovation arm of the Air Force. We are perhaps not the innovation arm of the Air Force. There are a lot of great innovative opportunities and people doing great things around the Air Force. But what we would like to do is focus those efforts and perhaps guide those efforts in different ways by looking at several new, fresh approaches to not only acquisition, but partnering with industry. And just looking at new ways of empowering our airmen and ensuring that, for one, if you believe the United States should be leaders in technology in the world, then we would like to go after those different enabling capabilities that allow us to do that. So we have 3 arms of AFWorks. We're nested within Air Force Research Laboratory, and I think some of my follow-on commenters will speak to that. But as such, we have 3 different, what we call, I would say maybe branches, divisions, capabilities. One is what we call Spark, and the intent of Spark was to really look inside the Air Force and find ways to really develop and enable a culture of innovation, which is absolutely important because without that culture, everything else we do does not get absorbed and adopted by our people. So we really wanted a place where people could take risks, could come up with ideas internally, and have a reach back support, perhaps a little bit of funding to make those ideas come true and have a way to speak to a lot of our Air Force team to make sure that those voices are heard. So Spark works with that. They go out and build innovation cells in different areas, establish them, provide reach back support, but with the intent that they are mostly self-sufficient. Then what I think most of the folks listening on this line would be interested in is we also have a venture capital arm called AF Ventures. What's interesting about that is really the fresh new approach that we bring to the United States Air Force, and that is a way of partnering with industry, with our small business defense industrial base to help stimulate it, to look for technologies out there that we're perhaps not specifically asking for. So for the old acquisition process, we'd put out requirements and look for very specific things. And we still do that. And we still have different ways where we can look for a specific capability that people are asking for. But what we would really like to do from a strategic perspective is look around the great work that you're doing as innovators and figure out what is that thing we never even thought of before that you are thinking about, that in a great small startup American company is thinking about, that has great potential for dual use. And dual use can be military potential or potential from any agency in the US government. And also military utility. So if you have commercial viability, it's solid technology, and there's potential utility for the US government, most often we'd be interested in it. And we have about just under $1 billion in small business innovation and research money that we essentially get to make small bets annually. So that comes out to approximately 1,400 companies we bring on board annually, which is quite a bit. It is a whole lot. And so bear with us in that process, because it is quite a process. So that's F Ventures. And we are located here within the Capital Factory. We have a storefront on the 4th floor, we like to call it. We'd love to meet with you and hear your ideas and hopefully guide you through that process where it brings value to you and to us. And lastly, one other thing. So it's great to have focus on our people, building that innovative culture. It's good to have some ability to partner with industry, but we also have another branch or opportunity that we call Prime. And our AF Prime capability is to take a specific capability and look at how we can partner with a handful of companies and stakeholders to try to use all of the capability that we have and help accelerate that capability into the United States Air Force's hands. And one of those right now, specifically that we're working on, the test bed for this, and what we've been working on was electronic vertical takeoff and landing aircraft through Agility Prime, if you've heard of that capability. And then, again, working with those companies to bring them test and subject matter expertise, help them with all the things they need to do to make that transition into the U.S. government. And I think we're on a great path to seeing the commercialization and operationalization of that capability in about the 2023 timeframe. So with all that, that's a little bit of an overview of everything we're doing. We're excited to be here. We bring all those capabilities here at the Capital Factory and look forward to meeting some of our great startup community. Thank you.
That's awesome. Riddler, man, it's always a pleasure to have you. AFWorks is doing great things, and I know that the team is growing. So I want to just advocate for you guys, knowing that the first floor, it's open right in the lobby of the Omni. So for all you entrepreneurs, founders that are local to the area, come on in. Come to the first floor lobby of the Omni. You'll find AFWorks there just about every single day. And they're there to help you and to help kind of seed the pathway of where you best fit based on all the things that we have learned over the last 3 days, what TRL level, and what kind of service or product that you have and how it best fits the needs of the Air Force. So thank you so much again. Awesome. You guys are doing great work, yeoman's work for the Air Force. And we definitely look forward to seeing way more of you guys as the year traverses. So really exciting always to have you guys here. And entrepreneurs, Team Air Force, that's where it's at. Thank you very much, Riddler.
Thanks, Jorge.
Appreciate that. Awesome. So moving right along, team. So another exciting team that we're going to have coming in, they're going to actually transmit virtually from Rome, New York, is the Innovare Center. It's another arm of Air Force Research Labs that is actually plugging into Capital Factory from afar, right? So we're going to give an opportunity for Michael Graniero to jump online and just talk a little bit about the Innovare Center and how Rome Labs, which has got steeped in lots of history from way back, even like the start of the internet. You always hear people saying, we started the internet. Well, Rome Labs actually was a big part of starting the internet a long, long time ago. So I'd love to, again, welcome Mike Graniero. Hey, the stage is yours, and we're all excited to hear about, again, AFRL's Information Directorate and how that plays together with the Innovare Center. Thank you, Michael.
Great, thanks, Jorge. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Yes, we
Great,
can.
excellent. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me today. Just to give you a quick overview, as Jorge had mentioned, my name is Mike Graniero. I'm the small business professional for the Information Directorate of AFRL. My work at the lab here started in contracting back in 2002. And in 2017, I transitioned over to the small business office to manage our overall small business portfolio. So what that means is advocating for small businesses, providing guidance and assistance to help you find opportunities, to help implement small business strategies, and to enhance the Air Force's mission through small business collaborative research. So the Air Force really does try to focus on those relationships. And part of doing that was the development of the Innovare Advancement Center, which Jorge had mentioned. It's really a place for us to collaborate and integrate with industry and with academia without having to worry about bringing people into the confines of an environment where classified work is going on. So for folks who haven't seen or heard about the Innovare Advancement Center, I'd strongly encourage you to look that up, get on their mailing list so you can receive updates. And what's really nice about that Innovare Advancement Center is that we're going to have mirror images of some of our very specialized labs within that center, again, just across the street from the Air Force Research Lab in Rome, New York, where we can actually work and collaborate with people in an unclassified environment. And if those technologies prove fruitful and something that we want to test and implement into an Air Force system, we can actually take them back across the street and into that environment behind the gates, so to speak, to do the testing. So it's really a unique opportunity there at the Innovare Center. So moving on through through my slides here. Great, everything's coming through. So, what is the AFRL? And for those who don't know about AFRL, we're really the R&D arm of the Air Force. We've got 9 tech directorates across the U.S. And it's an opportunity for the Air Force to really do research and development in areas that are important to the warfighter. So why small businesses? Small businesses tend to be highly innovative. They play an important role in technological advancement, and the Air Force recognizes that importance. It's important to collaborate with small businesses, and we help to and commit to small business growth by developing programs that support innovation and support small business activities to help cultivate technologies. They're also important to commercialization of R&D efforts, private sector investments, cooperative research and development with the government and academia, and creation of intellectual property. So all key elements that are important to us in the Air Force and important to that technology development that the warfighter is ultimately going to use. So continuing on with AFRL overall, it's headquartered in Dayton, Ohio at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Again, those 9 technical directorates, and we utilize programs like cooperative research and development agreements, which offer an opportunity to exchange intellectual property, facilities, and other resources with industry. We have outreach programs like the Trusted AI Challenge Series, which was a 3-part series designed to cultivate, define, and fund creative solutions to a set of challenge problems in trustworthy AI, with a particular focus on dynamic autonomous systems. And also through America's Seed Fund, the Spartan Program, which you heard about with AFWorks just a few minutes ago. Also through partnership intermediary agreements with nonprofit organizations to engage academia and industry on behalf of the government. We have 19 partnership intermediaries across the U.S. to assist the Air Force in tech transfer and tech transition efforts. And 2 of those are located right here in Rome, New York. We also utilize licensing programs and tech scouting and other opportunities. We maintain collaboration opportunities with organizations like the National Security Innovation Network, which is embedded in institutions across the U.S. Ensign works on behalf of the Air Force to build networks of innovators that generate new solutions to national security problems. And of course, the Information Directorate, specifically here in Rome, New York, is the nation's premier research organization for C4I and cyber technologies. Right here in Rome, we develop game-changing technologies to transform data into information and knowledge for decision makers to command and control our forces. And that knowledge gives us an air, space, and cyber force competitive advantage. And that's really what we're about. We are a bit unique here in Rome, New York, in that we are a standalone research lab in a business park. We are not situated on an Air Force base. And because of this unique posture, We procure our own operational needs in addition to those research and development requirements. This includes supplies, equipment, architectural and engineering, and operational services. Still, though, the majority of our roughly $1.6 billion budget is for research and development programs. And again, that's just the Information Directorate here in Rome, New York. And it's funded by the Air Force and other DoD partners. Now, we accomplish this through a number of different acquisition methods, such as broad agency announcements, where we solicit proposals or white papers for the acquisition of basic and applied research. It's a streamlined process that helps us to fund those best technical solutions to explore research areas that are a particular focus to us. And every directorate within AFRL utilizes those to a certain extent, and every tech directorate has its own research focus area. So in addition to those, we also use government-wide acquisition contracts, which are pre-competed contracts like 2GIT, NetSense, GSA, Alliant, Oasis, and NASA SOUP. Some of those also have their own small business pools. So for you small businesses and startups, you can look for those types of contracts, those government-wide acquisition contracts, look for onboarding opportunities. They come up periodically. So if you're in contact with those folks, you can take the opportunity to onboard with them and see those solicitations that we're putting out via those vehicles. Last year, AFRL obligated more than half of its funding to small businesses, AFRL overall, totaling more than $2 billion. Now, this slide is probably the one that I'm most proud of. As you can see from the areas in blue, nearly half of the dollars we obligate for our programs go to small businesses. And here in Rome, we accounted for $660 million of that $2 billion. We also directed $58 million to small disadvantaged business and $117 million to women-owned businesses. And this year, we're trending on a similar path in spite of the effects of the COVID pandemic. So it's a true testament to our commitment to small businesses. So that's a great slide and one that I'm very proud of. In addition to those programs that I mentioned earlier, those government-wide acquisition vehicles and broad agency announcements, the Air Force also stood up a new web tool last fall. It's really the best way to get plugged in and get your capabilities in front of the broadest audience across the Air Force. It's called Air Force Tech Connect. It's a great new tool that helps you share an idea that gets shared and paired with subject matter experts across the Air Force. So it's really helping you paint with a very wide brush to get your technologies recognized across the Air Force. And if there's a match, those subject matter experts will reach back directly to you. So it's a great new tool for you to utilize, and I encourage you to go to the website. Looks like I'm getting a little bit toward the end of my time, so I'll just leave you with a few closing thoughts. Helping small businesses to start and thrive is really a win-win situation for the government. I strongly believe that. It helps us support the research that we're conducting, defend the nation, support our economy, and bring vital jobs to communities across the country. And I'm proud to be part of that. Definitely reach out. I've got my contact info on the last slide here. My role as that small business advocate is to be here for you. So please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. You can connect with AFRL on LinkedIn or through any of the social media platforms, as well as through mine specifically on LinkedIn if you want to hear about opportunities that we have coming right out of Rome, New York.
I love it. I love it, Mike. Mike, I'm going to tell you that what you're doing out there, and I love the stats that you put out there because it really shows the small business community, like really how dedicated right now the U.S. Air Force and the other services are to small businesses. You know, the only limfag that I think over historically we've had is how do you get the word out and how do you get small entrepreneurs with really great ideas and technologies to better connect with the Air Force. So, you know, yes, we do have AFWorks. So we've got them here, boots on ground, scouts in Austin, which is great. But we also have Tech Connect and AFRL Rome Lab. So we have a much broader ecosystem. And that's why I wanted to introduce the Innovare Center, because the ecosystem in the Air Force not only recognizes the need for entrepreneurs, but the pathway and the doors are ever opening. You know, with AFWorks and AFRL, they've always done great work, but now kind of in concert with what Mike's team is doing up in Innovare Center, You saw the different areas between agreements and also tech transitions and opportunities for licensing. We're really trying to bust the door open together as a community to be able to provide these opportunities to our entrepreneurs across the globe. But, you know, this is another pathway, again, where if AFWorks, you go down to their front door and you talk to them, here's another area that they can connect you to really help expand and transition some of the technologies depending on the TRL level that you are. So this is really great, Michael. I do appreciate you so much for chiming in straight from New York. I'm not sure if it's snowing up there yet or not, but I'm sure it probably is soon.
You never know in these parts.
If it gets too cold, Mike, come on down to Austin. You always got an open invitation from us.
I appreciate that. I wish I could have been there with you. And Jorge, you made a great point. Probably the hardest part that startups and small businesses have is really getting their foot in the door with AFRL. It's difficult because long gone are the days where people can come on site, knock on doors, and talk to people. So we utilize the facilities like the Innovare Advancement Center, the work that you're doing at Capital Factory, the work that AFWorks does within the Sitter program are great ways to get people's feet in the door. So for folks who aren't familiar with those programs, I encourage you to reach out to all of us for help making those connections.
That's right. That's right. Well, again, thanks for being part of the ecosystem. Always a pleasure and an honor to have you guys here in our space. And guys, Rome, New York's not too bad. I've been up there. It's a beautiful area. So a lot of technology that they can actually use to help you advance. So if you're looking for testing and laboratory capability, there might be an opportunity through those agreements to actually use some of that high-tech, state-of-the-art equipment that Rome Labs holds, not only for the Air Force, but for the public. If you've got a great Air Force need, I'm sure they'd be happy to help support you in one way, shape, or form. So thanks again, Mike. I really do appreciate you. And now I'm going to transition over to another great friend, right? So we've got Brant from Army Applications Lab. Go ahead and come on up here since you're live. And we are really excited about Army Application Labs and what they are doing right here at Capital Factory, 8th floor in downtown Austin. So, Brant, I'm not going to steal any of your thunder, but I know you guys have been here, probably close to about 3 years now. You got the Army Applications Lab, Spartan program that's really taken traction now, and really exciting things with just other opportunities that you guys right now are actively kind of putting pen to paper to really bring to the entrepreneurs. So I can't be more excited for Team Army and what they're bringing, and also the idea of jointness. So you heard a little bit about AFRL and AFWorks downstairs, but then with Army here at the helm on the 8th floor, there's probably gonna be opportunities in the future for some joint activity. So really being able to, instead of having to cross-pollinate between, one service or another, actually seeing the services work together potentially for really awesome and unified projects that I could see in the future as we develop out the defense innovation ecosystem. So, Brant, without further ado, I'm going to give you the stage, man. Thank you so much for coming today. And stage is yours. Let's talk about AAL.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. So I brought a chair. I would have felt awkward just standing up here, talking with y'all for 10 minutes. Before I get going, can I get a quick show of hands? I just want to get a better feel for who's in the audience. So who is a founder here? Okay. Awesome. That's great. Any technologists or scientists? By default, some of the founders. All right. Great. Any business development people? Again, probably all the founders. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Has anybody worked with the government before? Okay. All right. A couple of folks. For the folks who haven't, are you like fully committed to work with the government, just kind of teasing it out, feeling it out? I see some heads nodding. Okay. All right. That's helpful to get to know you guys a little bit better. So my name is Brant Sujits. I work for the Army Applications Lab. We've got an office right outside of those doors to the left. Our doors are open and unlocked most of the time. So if you have a question, always feel free to drop in and say hello. So the Army Applications Lab, we are one of many innovation groups within the Army. You've probably heard from a number today across the DoD as a whole. And we're probably not a whole lot different than a lot of the groups you've heard with. So I'll save a lot of the generic spiel and tell you a little bit what makes us different and how we operate. And I really wanted to use the time to answer any questions that you guys have, right? So you've probably heard a lot of like why small businesses are important to the government. You've probably heard about the SBIR program and things. So I'll give you the high level and leave a lot of time for questions and answers. So the 10,000-foot view of Army Applications Lab, we fall underneath Army Futures Command, which is one of the 4 divisions of the Army. So it's a pretty large organization. They manage all of the modernization efforts for the Army as a whole. So they look at everything from early R&D in the lab all the way to like fielding and testing new technologies for soldiers. So they look at the whole spectrum of innovation for the Army. And they've got offices right down the street on 8th and Congress-ish. And so AAL, we fall underneath them. And our specialty really is looking at how the Army can leverage technologies from the commercial world in order to solve Army problems. So the Army, probably like a lot of DoD groups, has a challenge with reinventing the wheel. So we're trying to nip that in the bud, right? So we want to look at what problems does the Army have that have analogous problems in the commercial sector, and are there businesses that have products that can solve that? Can we find those companies? Can we help convince them to pivot their business or develop a new line of business for the DoD and build us an Army product that's green and has an Army logo on it? And by doing that, we hope that we can short circuit the R&D timeline and hopefully save lots of money as we do that. So Jorge mentioned our Spartan program. This is a relatively new program for AAL. We launched it, let's see, about a year ago. And this is AAL's version of deploying SBIR capital. So I know I heard the previous gentleman at AFRL talk about SBIR. Show of hands, you guys familiar with SBIR at this point? Okay, awesome. I won't rehash old ground there, right? So money for small businesses. The unique thing about AAL Spartan program is that we package the SBIR money, so actually the funds, with a lot of support. So you can kind of think about it as like SBIR money with an accelerator program that you might get from Capital Factory or Techstars or someplace. We do a lot of hands-on work with the companies. We line you up with the end users, the soldiers, to get good feedback, to like iteratively test and build your product. Even support of like, how do I invoice the government? Yeah, it's not, for the folks who have done this before, it's not a simple thing or an easy thing to get into some of our systems. So we really want to make it easier and better for small businesses like you to actually do business with the government. We realize that, like, you know, saying that we're working with small businesses and giving you money is great. It's a really important first step, but there's a lot of gaps in between that AAL is picking up the slack there. All right, I'll stop there. Any questions right now on our Spartan program? Going once, going twice. All right, cool. The next thing I'm going to jump into is what we work on. So I think that's probably of most interest to you guys. So an example of a past project that we worked on was looking at how the Army reloads cannons. Basically, you got these howitzer cannons out in the field. You got these 100-pound shells that need to be reloaded. And believe it or not, the Army solution to that for the last 100 years has been have soldiers lift more things faster and more quickly. So what AAL did was we put out a call to industry, and we found companies that had expertise in robotics, computer vision, supply chain management. We brought them all out to the field to watch this process happen live. And we thought we knew what we wanted. We thought we wanted a robotic arm that was going to lift up these shells and put them into the storage racks and in the howitzers. Anybody who's done live tests know that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. It's no different for the Army. And so we brought these companies out to the field. It's raining. The wrong ammunition has been shipped, so we're all standing around in the rain. The paper forms that the soldiers are using to keep track of inventory are like literally disintegrating as they're trying to write on them with pens and papers. And the startups that we brought out there are looking at us saying, okay, we know you want a robotic arm, but there's so much more low-hanging fruit that we can build for you that's going to drastically improve the process today. So the outcome of that was we put several companies on contract. we did actually have a robotic arm company build us the sexy, cool robotic arm that's going to resupply this. But we also had companies building us computer vision-based inventory management tools, so soldiers don't have to write down the barcode numbers on a piece of paper. They can just pull up their iPhone or their Android device and scan it. We had a company build us a supply chain logistics platform for ammunition in the battlefield. Again, this is probably stuff you see at Amazon every day, but for the Army, it's super new and it's really, really impactful. So that's an example of a past project. The technology focuses that we're working on most over the next year and a half or so, they're going to be human performance optimization. So looking at how do we make soldiers better, faster? How do we understand soldiers better? An example of a program that we ran in this space was our Exosense program. All of the Army programs have very, very Army titles. The premise of this was looking at, we think in the future there are going to be exoskeletons that soldiers wear. And we don't really know what brand we're going to use or what they're going to look like, but all of them are more or less going to have the same types of sensors on them, right? They're going to have motors on them, right? And the companies building the Exosense or the exoskeletons know that, or they pretty much use the data to make the exoskeleton work better, right? But if we look at this from a soldier performance perspective, can we use that data to tell us more insights about the soldier? Can we look at, can we use a step counter and pair that with GPS to have more precise navigation tools? Can we look at like the wear and tear, or the strain on the motors and say, hey, this soldier's probably been running for a very long time. Like we should send an alert to them to drink some water or hydrate. So can we repurpose the data from an exoskeleton to generate better soldier performance? So that's one example of the human performance focus that we have over the next year to 18 months. Really understanding soldiers better and their performance better. The next focus that we have is on robotics and AI with a heavy focus on applied, like applications to the soldiers with robotics and AI. I mentioned one example already of these robotic arms that lift these 100-pound cannon shells and load them into the howitzers. That's an example that we've worked on. Another project that we worked on was the sustainment process for robotic combat vehicles. So in the future, we're going to have these robotic combat vehicles, kind of look like little tanks or Humvees driving around. And we need to think about all the sustainment processes that go along with that. So how do we get ammunition to these devices? How do we manage a fleet of robotic vehicles? So anyways, that's kind of the second focus that we're working on. Got a question back here.
If somebody wants to sign up for office hours and get to, start forming relationships with you guys, where do they go to see who's available and different office hours that might be available?
So we don't have standing office hours, but the best place to go is our website, aal.army/join. And it's going to be a form that shouldn't take you more than 4 minutes to do. If it's taking you more than 4 minutes, you're doing it wrong. And we're going to ask you for a short description of what you do and brief technology bins of where your company falls, right? If we have an immediate opportunity to work with you, we're going to reach out. We're going to set up a time to talk. Unfortunately, just the way government contracting works, if we have stuff in the works that you align with, but we might not be able to talk about it, we're gonna tell you that, like, hey, we can't talk right now, but keep an eye out, and we're gonna put you on our email list so that when we have a new project comes out that aligns with what your capabilities are, you'll be the first to know.
Awesome. That was a great question. Brant, I'm telling you, thank you again for coming out. Army Applications Lab, again, just doing really interesting stuff. Again, getting traction, getting momentum. And really, I'm really looking forward to a lot of the modernization things and a lot of the new programs as they kind of grow and get traction, how best to connect with that team. I mean, Army's doing some really great stuff. I keep seeing on the news, and really looking forward to, for sure, seeing how Army continues to proliferate right across Austin and Silicon Hills, and perhaps even San Antonio, with a lot of the different Army capabilities that are out there and the kind of technologies that are being sought across the state of Texas. So this is really great. Thank you so much again for your time. It's always a pleasure to have you and your team.
Thanks for having me.
So close to us. All right. Awesome. All right, now kind of moving right along, we have another really special guest. I'd like to introduce John Huggins. Come on stage. And he is from the National Security Collaboration Center, which is part of UTSA. And he's got a really great program. So for all you guys out there doing either cybersecurity, software as a service, or just anything that's kind of in the IT or cyber realm, NSCC for short, National Security Collaboration Center, is a great place right down the street from Austin and San Antonio, and also another partner in Capital Factory, where we're trying to kind of work together as we kind of rise the tides together across Austin and San Antonio to do more innovation together. And as I kind of build out Techport, I'm not sure if you heard about that, NSCC is just right, not too far from where the Techports can be built. And so a lot of collaboration opportunity for government, academia, and industry is definitely going to be at your arm's reach very, very soon. So John, so happy to have you here and give you the stage to introduce a little bit more and tell us about NSCC.
Yeah, thank you, Jorge. Yeah, so I think one thing here as we look at, Texas is realizing, kind of Jorge's point, lots going on in San Antonio, and it's a relatively short drive, down I-35 to get down to San Antonio. And as you look across, what's going on at San Antonio, especially from a government, academic and industry perspective, there's a lot going on. Definitely from a government, we have a lot with the Air Force and the Army. Also too, from industry, thing with Techport, Port of San Antonio, that's really a big initiative in the San Antonio area, and really trying to drive that innovation and drive technology and drive technology transition, from commercial, from academia into the government. So, a lot of words on here in terms of the mission and vision, but really for what we're trying to do here at the NSCC as a part of, University of Texas at San Antonio is really across that top banner. So as we kind of focus in on that first word of research. So as you think about, kind of from an academic, institution perspective, a lot of great ideas, but fundamentally, what is the application? So this is a piece here for us is understanding, hey, what are those national security challenges that face us, and really be able to pool our research and transition our research from some great idea, but actually now apply it to a problem that, the DoD has either across the Air Force, be it the Navy, or some other federal partners. The next word there in terms of education. So UTSA, obviously from that side, we have that from an academic, undergrad, graduate education. But for us at the NSCC, it's really that life cycle of learning. So realizing those K through 12 initiatives, because that's obviously our future innovators, and being able to build them up so they're prepared as they transition to college or whatever awaits them. And then also too, it was that continuing education. So for a lot of folks that are mid-career, a lot of focus, at UTSA has been around cybersecurity, but a lot of folks that have been, mid-career professionals, they didn't grow up in that world. So having those opportunities to actually engage and actually learn about implications of cyber and cybersecurity. Another piece here too for education is actually working with our ecosystem to say, hey, what do you want to know about? What do you want to learn? So realizing that for us at UTSA, we're a relatively young university. We're only 52 years old. So realizing that, try to drive that innovation of how we actually instruct both, our current students as well as folks that are coming back in terms of continuing education. And that last piece here in terms of workforce development. So this is really looking at our students, both graduate and undergrad, of giving them opportunities to intern, either with industry partners or with the government, and be, prepared once they either, finish a bachelor's or go all the way through a PhD, that they are ready to tackle those challenges that face them. So one thing that we're really excited about, at the NSCC, is this new facility. So this is currently being constructed in downtown San Antonio. It's actually a very short walk from the Riverwalk area. I will say here that the little waterway here that's on this slide is actually the San Pedro Creek. So San Antonio itself is trying to do a lot of, redevelopment of this space, and UTSA is kind of anchored ourselves, in this area. But one of the nice things here about this building, beyond just being downtown, is that we have an academic counterpart, at UTSA, which is the School of Data Science. So both ourselves at the NSCC and the School of Data Science will be housed in this facility. And one of the things here, with the School of Data Science, realizing that data drives everything, regardless if you're a computer scientist or you're an anthropologist. And this is where, for us at UTSA, of looking at the School of Data Science, is having that transdisciplinary, education, regardless of who you are, realizing once again that data drives your research and drives your work. So for us at NSCC, kind of similar here with Capital Factory, it's just not us. It is our ecosystem. And realizing, backing on what's going on in San Antonio. So as you look on the right side of this slide, is there's a lot of governments, especially on the DoD side, headquarters in San Antonio. So for us, it's 16th Air Force. So that's the information warfare, cyber operational arm of the Air Force, and realizing that, understanding what those operational challenges that face the Air Force and be able to actually help solve those. So we heard earlier from AFRL, the Rome Directorate. So for us, we have a connection back up to Rome through AFRL, as well as Army Research Lab, which is also a part of Army Futures Command here, in San Antonio. So a lot of great connections here, kind of up the I-35 corridor between San Antonio and Austin. And then the other piece here too is industry. So a bunch of logos obviously on this slide. It's obviously not everybody, but realizing that our partnerships with small businesses, especially local to San Antonio, and then I'll even say coast to coast, and understanding that we have worked with small businesses, especially on the small business technology transfer (STTR) programs, and being able to actually help small businesses transition their technology, into DoD. So that's one thing that we definitely pride ourselves on, is helping small businesses, especially with STTRs, which is a part of that of having a research institution, i.e. UTSA, help you actually transition those into DoD. And then also too, for us is our academic and nonprofit partners. So for us, UTSA, we are part of the University of Texas system. So all of the UT schools from UT Austin all the way out towards University of Texas El Paso. And then also is kind of coast to coast in terms of our partners. So we have some partnerships with Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab, and then all the way towards kind of the west is with Arizona State. So for us at UTSA, it's just not us at the NSCC, realizing that we have a lot of research going on across the university. And even though it's not all solely focused on cyber and cybersecurity. So just as a highlight of some of the other research, so the one there starting on the left side of the slide for CIS, a lot of focus there really is on education. And being able to educate the workforce, all the way back in terms of K through 12, and then continuing education. The center one is our Cyber Center. So really for them is understanding a lot of threats. So we've all heard about the ransomware attacks that especially have come up in the last 6 months in particular. So they do a lot of research there, as well as understanding research with the Internet of Things, IoT. And then our last one there, we've heard already, I heard this morning already about AI, ML, artificial intelligence, machine learning, realizing once again, AI, ML is kind of infecting, I'll say as it were, everything across the space. And it's just not if you're in computer science. So this is really understanding the applications of AI, ML, and regardless if you're a computer scientist or not, of how that really would apply in your profession. So I really want to highlight very briefly here, what is going on in San Antonio. So especially from a defense perspective. So Joint Base San Antonio, JBSA, was selected as one of the sites for 5G experimentation. So realizing that, hey, we're all trying to, come up to 5G, and really the application of and leveraging 5G. Obviously, DoD is in that same space of, how do we leverage 5G for our uses? So with 5G, tied into Joint Base San Antonio, there's 2 experiments that they're looking at. One is telehealth, telemedicine, and realizing that the app, how that can really provide in terms of having a soldier on the field and having that reach back, to a doctor or other medical professional. And the other one is 5G core security. With the 5G core, it's the brains of the 5G network and making sure that the brain is secure in terms of actually operating in the overall network. So lastly here for us, at the NSCC, like I said, kind of highlight again those top 4 words. Research really is about the application and really be able to solve those national security challenges. Education, it really is about the life cycle, of learning, K through 12, all the way through continuing education. And this last is workforce development. So giving those opportunities for our undergrad and graduate students to be able to intern either with industry or government. So they're prepared as they finish their degree, regardless if they're going from bachelor's or a PhD. I think that should be it, Jorge.
Okay, awesome. Well, stay here on stage. Man, thank you so much, John, for that. I wanted to bring you guys up here and also just kind of further reiterate the NSCC's importance to not only this region, Austin, and San Antonio, the greater Silicon Hills, basically Texas, right? The capability that they provide to our entrepreneurs and startups is amazing. You saw that chart with all those various logos, and obviously there's a lot more that didn't fit in there. But the importance of that is, between the network that Capital Factory has with entrepreneurs and investors and the network that you guys have with government, corporate entities to help transition technologies, test and validate technologies, and even experiment with new technologies when it comes to data is powerful.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I want everybody to take away from the audience, both virtually and in person here, is that just like you were saying, data touches everything. And if you really want to accelerate your technology or even level it up to be a little bit more compelling for the use with the federal government, partnering with people like NSCC here in the region could be what gives you the secret sauce to really become a very compelling solution for the United States government and national security objectives. So like I said, your programs are amazing. I know they're also growing, and the ecosystem is extremely strong down there. And I believe that together we're stronger. So all the entrepreneurs, both online in Austin, and if you're outside of Texas and you're dialing in, so to speak, connect with NSCC, because they are definitely a powerful resource, whether you're just entering the market, experimenting, or looking to actually expand and commercialize your tech. They've got something for you down there in San Antonio. And again, it's just a very short drive from Austin. So thank you so much,
Yeah,
John.
thanks, Jorge. And I just definitely want to say, right, that when it comes to Texas, and especially South Central Texas, it's just not Austin. It's just not San Antonio. It's Austin and San Antonio, and making sure, realizing that we have a lot of great complementary capabilities that we can provide across the country.
Absolutely. Like I said, together we're stronger. So thank you so much, John. It's always a pleasure to have you, and hope to see you more. All right. Well, for everybody in the audience, we're going to take a quick break, a 10-minute break to about 11 o'clock, where then we will jump on with the University of Texas, Dallas, and they'll talk a little bit about their technology transition program. And then we'll jump right into the special licensing pitch session that we're going to have. First time we do something like that here at Capital Factory. So let's go ahead, take a quick break, quick bathroom break, grab some lunch, wherever you're at, and then come back right with us at 11 o'clock. Thanks. See you soon. All right, all right, all right. Awesome. Well, we gave you a little extra couple minutes there to get comfortable and everything, but we're going to go ahead and get started right away. For those online, you can't see the audience, but there's a lot of networking going on currently, which is what we love. We definitely love networking and serendipitous connections here at Capital Factory. But as we kind of get started now and just kind of get our footing once again, we are going to go ahead and introduce the University of Texas in Dallas and their tech transition office. So I've got Robert online. This is a super exciting opportunity that we're about to try out here. So UTD's got a great transition office. So Robert, I'm so happy to have you virtual and you couldn't come down. Maybe next time we can do this live, but nevertheless, we have a great opportunity and a great program that you're about to discuss with our online and our in-person audiences here today. So how you doing there, sir?
Doing great. Yeah.
And this is really cool. I'm just going to go ahead and just hand over the stage for you and just let you do your thing. And then I'll see you in just a few minutes.
Sounds good, George. Thanks so much. I really appreciate this opportunity. Speaking for UT Dallas, we appreciate this unique opportunity to be speaking with Capital Factory and all you folks interested in some of this defense contracting dual use application, especially how that might pertain to intellectual property and how some of the intellectual property coming out of our university can help you in those endeavors. I think the first place to start off is kind of giving a primer on our university and our research capabilities and a little bit about our tech transfer operations here. So a little bit, let me go ahead and introduce myself a little bit here. My name is Robert Mcmahon. I am a technology analyst and in a previous life, a patent agent. I'm still a patent agent, but work here in the Office of Technology Commercialization, which is part of the research arm of UT Dallas. Our mission is more than just educating and research here at the university, although we are a tier 1 research facility. Our function is to also commercialize the inventions that come out of our university. So number one is identifying, protecting, and licensing inventions and innovations. And this is the primary function of technology transfer, as many of you may be aware. But those who aren't, that's one function of technology transfer. Also providing academic and experiential education, the entrepreneurial mindset. Interesting fact here is that UT Dallas is ranked in the top 10 nationally for graduate entrepreneurial mindset, and that's in the Princeton Review, according to the Princeton Review, and those are current stats as of 2021. Another primary function is incubation facilities. So we have a lot of incubation facilities here at UT Dallas, both on campus and off campus. And those include lab, equipment, offices, and mentoring for startups. Our Venture Development Center is one of those examples. And we have another called the IQ up here in Richardson, where UT Dallas is located. So we're pretty proud of our startup facilities and what we're doing to help inventors go from lab to market and commercialize and do startups as well. So these services are all rolled into that venture development. And so we're pretty excited about that. 5 UTD affiliated exits in the past year. So that's one of the goals for a lot of startups is getting an exit plan. So we're proud about that. Here are a few accolades of UT Dallas. We've got 568 tenure track, 38 National Science Foundation Career Awards, 26 Young Investigator Awards. So all these numbers we're very proud of. One thing that is I think pertinent to this group today is that UT Dallas is strategically located, if you will, in the northern North Texas quadrant here, where we have a lot of access to defense contracting companies such as Lockheed Martin, Raytheon up here in McKinney, Texas, General Dynamics. I believe they may be in Fort Worth as well, Boeing and Northrop Grumman. So, it's not coincidental that a lot of innovation and a lot of inventors and a lot of research scientists that come out of UT Dallas end up going to work for many of these large companies. So we're in a uniquely situated position there, and that's the primer of UT Dallas and our research capabilities and tech transfer. George, what do you think of that?
And you know what, Robert, this is, one of the main reasons why I wanted to showcase UTD today and do this kind of one of a kind, first ever kind of reverse pitch for tech transfer licensing, is because a lot of our entrepreneurs don't know the secret weapon that we have up in UTD. In fact, I don't think that the nation writ large kind of understands the capability UTD has as a, top 10 tier school for technology transition and entrepreneurs and commercialization. So one of the cool things that you guys do is you're trying to simplify the process for actually getting some of the technology transfer or some of the inventions that you guys have transitioned over to entrepreneurs, and how do we accelerate that, right? And that's something that I've seen from a federal government perspective. They want to do that with the federal labs, but also our universities want to do that. And what we're going to try and do today with this reverse pitch is really pilot an opportunity where we can not only do this with UTD, but even expand it to the federal labs across not only the United States, but Texas, bringing up the whole university system and really kind of come together as a big family, right? To say, I've got all this technology available and ready to license to level up your small business in a way that can really be profound and changing for our national security objectives. So without further ado, what I want to do is just give it right back to Robert. And what he's about to do is do a reverse pitch. So for everybody on the line and people here in the audience, I'm going to ask you to do one quick thing before we get started. If you're in the YouTube link, or if you're here live, get your laptop, go to the YouTube link so you can get into the Google form to be able to vote for your favorite license that he's about to talk about. And what is going to happen is it's going to be popular vote. We're going to announce, what kind of stuff our audience really likes and wants to go after. But at the same time, that's also going to help us collect some names, because Robert would love to connect with the entrepreneurs out there to say, hey, we've got this great opportunity to license this out. Now, he's got an accelerated fashion to doing that with their program up there in UTD. So this is a great opportunity. And with the data that we're going to receive, guys, I'm going to be real transparent with you. Capital Factory is going to work a way to really kind of build this out and hopefully scale this in a way that's extremely meaningful to the entrepreneur and gives you an opportunity, again, to be much more compelling to a lot of the federal seed funding that is out there. And if not federal, even commercial. We've got a lot of commercial partners. As you saw, the UTSA team, all the partnerships they have on the commercial sector. Plus, I know UTD's got, many commercial partners as well that will help them with some transitions and research and funding, et cetera. So, Robert, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to you. And hopefully everybody's had a chance to go ahead and open up the YouTube channel. And for the next few minutes, he's just going to go one by one. He's got 3 licensing opportunities that he's going to pitch to you. And then you guys vote. And if you're super interested, please reach out to Robert. And Robert, you'll know if you get some emails, you'll be making some phone calls next week. So
got it. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thanks, Robert. So the stage is yours again.
All right. Thanks for that, George. So at UT Dallas, we've got a lot of technologies in different areas, but we've selected 3 to present to you today. And if something here doesn't pique your interest, feel free to reach out to us. We might have something that actually does, but these 3 we think should be interesting for you folks. So let's go here. Okay. And we do have a little bit of a okay, here we go. It's working now. Okay, these are the top three, the three technologies we'd like to pitch today. The technology areas are cybersecurity, Internet of Things as well. And the technology there coming from our lab is going to be object flow integrity, which is securing binary software against hijacking attacks. Our second technology is related to the advanced batteries art. We have lithium ion batteries having a surface stabilized lithium nickel oxide as a high capacity cathode. I think that one's great. These advanced batteries are applicable to everything from large to small devices, especially military considerations as well, civilian considerations as well. The third one is artificial intelligence and machine learning platform, an actual hardware platform called reservoir computing with frustrated nanomagnet arrays. So let's go ahead and get started with the first one. Object flow integrity, and this is in the cybersecurity area. This is from our inventor, Dr. Kevin Hamlin. There's a pretty picture of him. He got his PhD in computer science from Cornell back in 2006. Object flow integrity is a method of securing binary software against hijacking attacks on object-oriented systems. This has dual applications in software security engineering and hijacking defense. So in software security engineering, it improves security of commercial off-the-shelf software products for operating systems with object-oriented APIs. So this is off-the-shelf software products, which is, of course, great. So this is security software that can be used with off-the-shelf products. Hijacking defense, of course, object flow integrity extends defenses that work against COOP to be effective in contexts where not all call sites can be instrumented with guard code. So this probably means a lot to, I know this is a foreign language to many people, but to all you computer science guys, this is probably your language. There it is. So we have a patent filed on this method, and this method, here's a figure from that patent. The patent there, down there at the bottom left-hand corner. I think this figure shows the method on basically how it is bifurcating trusted and untrusted modules and how it executes that to basically to do cybersecurity. It goes into let me pull up some of these better notes here. Okay, and I am having internet problems. Okay, here's another image from that US patent, and I can speak to that when I get my notes going here, which don't seem to be wanting to pull up. Right, okay, so object flow integrity extends CFI security protections to a significant portion of mainstream software, including complex object-oriented APIs, as shown through successful OFI-mediated instrumentation in various programs, including Mozilla Firefox. As the first defensive work directed towards code and COOP attacks, object flow integrity facilitates safe, transparent flow of binary objects across trust boundaries in multi-module process with the use of proxy objects. So this is object proxying, in which case the OFI solution involves the use of proxy objects. Each time an object flows across an intermodule trust boundary, OFI delivers a substitute proxy object to the callee. And this, it doesn't need writable data. It thwarts attacks that attempt to deputize object recipients by corrupting proxy virtual method tables. So a lot of different language in there, but basically its key benefits are that it's scalable because it works with it can work with any software, especially off-the-shelf software. It's versatile, allows CFI to be effectively applied to commercial software without modifying the operation system files. It's source agnostic, and it has low overhead. So that's our second one. So object flow integrity is great for cybersecurity. Those are some of the key benefits. And again, the military dual use applications are basically any software that is off the shelf. Our second one, moving right into the second one, is advanced battery technology. This involves lithium ion batteries having surface stabilized lithium nickel oxide as a high capacity cathode. Our inventor here is Dr. KJ Cho. We call him KJ here. He goes by KJ. He got his PhD from physics in physics at MIT in 1994, and his research areas are nanomaterials for renewable energy applications. Here we go. The benefits of the advanced battery technology that Dr. Cho has developed is that he's allowed for longer charge capacities and resist capacity degradation. So as you know, as you cycle lithium ion batteries, or any battery really, the cycling of recharging them and using them and recharging them tends to degrade the battery's lifespan. And he's figured out a way to prolong the lifespan and increase the capacities of lithium ion batteries. So the dual use, he does this through blocking oxygen evolution, inhibits surface phase transition. He's discovered a coating that will keep oxygen from going into the cathode and degrading the cathode over its lifetime. Dual use applications, as I mentioned earlier, are basically anything. Large vehicles, small devices such as watches, mobile devices, various civilian and military vehicle platforms, weapons, electromagnetic armor. So advanced battery technology can go in any military, civilian. This has huge applications. So as mentioned before, the big problem with lithium ion batteries is capacity degradation. Capacity degradation occurs by phase changes in oxygen evolution, and it has been the largest obstacle for ultimate commercialization in high capacity cathode materials. So these layered oxides are known to experience severe oxygen evolution, and that is oxygen getting into the cathode, and it causes capacity degradation. So what Dr. Cho has developed and his team here at UTD has developed is a surface coating that goes around the cathode that prevents that oxygen evolution and degradation of the cathode of these lithium ion batteries. Here's a little picture of what what that conceptually looks like. So we have a cathode, electrode, anode, and so this coating that Dr. Cho has developed goes around the cathode. This is a figure from our international PCT patent application, and there's a number there if anyone cares to write it down and look it up. Please do. We've got a lot more pretty pictures in that application as well, but this is the basic formula for a battery. Cathode, electrolyte in the middle of the anode and the cathode. So what he has done here is, as you can see, he's created an aluminum oxide layer that's formed around the cathode by what's called atomic layer deposition, or ALD. And then the process includes an annealing step that further solidifies the coating around the cathode and prevents lithium ions and electrons from interacting with each other in a way that eventually degrades the cathode. So the result is that the surface of the coating layer can reduce battery charge and discharge capacity. And as you can see, the little electron there in figure 2B, the electron path is changed by this coating and by the annealing process of the coating. Our third technology, real quick, is machine learning hardware platform. This relates to also AI as well. So reservoir computing with frustrated nanomagnet arrays. Our inventor here is Dr. Joe Friedman, who got his PhD in electrical engineering and computer engineering from Northwestern back in 2014. He is a director of the NeuroSpin Compute Laboratory here at UTD, and his research area is neuromorphic computing. So that sounds very AI area type stuff. Basically, the way this reservoir computing works is that he's put 4 of these magnets in close proximity together. And here we have figure 1 shows that when they're in close proximity together, no single nanomagnet can be fully relaxed with its magnetization in the Z direction. This provides a low power, low area system with an area energy delay of a lot lower than conventional reservoir computing systems. And the application of this is anywhere where size, weight, and power are constrained. Here we go. So the benefits are that we have improved speed, power consumption, and energy efficiency for information processing. And again, in areas where energy and space is constrained as well. So the dual use applications here could be anything from various civilian and military vehicles, weapons again, electromagnetic armor again, starting, lighting, ignition for any vehicles, and you need starting, lighting, ignition systems. A silent watch is also thought to be a good embodiment of this technology for reservoir computing. And so yes, that is basically, those are quick 3, a quick run through 3 of our technologies. If you didn't see anything there that piqued your interest, let us know. We've got several other areas that we are working on that we believe would also be applicable to do those dual use applications. And I'll turn it back over to you, George. Just leaving up my slide here that if anyone wants any more information, please feel free to reach out to us.
Awesome, Robert. Robert, I'm you know what? While you were presenting, we actually have a couple audience members that finally got the link. In fact, one came to me and was like, I want number 2. So expect a call, expect an email. So, but just for you guys online, I know that the YouTube link, for some reason, YouTube was blocking that. So what Jess did was
Erica did.
Oh, I'm sorry, not Jess.
Okay.
Erica. What Erica and Jess did was they were able to kind of pull together an email, right? An email to send out straight to you for everybody who's in the audience. So check your email box right now if you'd like, and then you'll be able to fill out the Google stack to be able to connect direct and provide your vote, number 1. And then also give that information to UT Dallas so Robert can also see any of your comments, your votes, and then be able to reach out. So again, this is our first little pilot program. Like I said, it seems just from audience participation that I just had, it seems like this is a really great opportunity that the entrepreneurs are looking forward to. And what we want to do is we want to scale this type of capability and this kind of connection with our university researchers to help accelerate your success as an entrepreneur. So thank you so much, Robert. I really do appreciate you. And we look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. And we're just going to go ahead and start wrapping up here for the day. We have a couple kind of concluding remarks that we'd like to do. So, Jess, I mean, out of the 3 days here at Defense Academy, what do you think, and how can you recap the day for our entrepreneurs and what's important and what they should look forward to?
Well, just to kind of conclude and maybe put a high point on what we just saw, there were a few things that really stood out to me. And just to kind of put a finer point on that patent, piece of what we just saw from UTD, the USPTO talked about how there is quite a bit of expense and their process is a little convoluted, and you really need to Mr. Apple kind of gave us the process with litigation and how things can get tricky. What about the opportunity to partner with UTD and maybe figure out if one of the 3 things that were just pitched to you are of interest to your company, and you were to attach to one of those opportunities that are already patented? Wow.
Yeah.
Like just that right there could jumpstart you, and you already are attached to something like
That's
that.
right.
Right. So just being a part of our Defense Academy and having information from the USPTO and that process, Mr. Apple kind of gave you a leg up there. So I just think being a part of this and getting that information firsthand from Mr. Apple in GovCon, and then USPTO, how to figure out more information about patents,
Yeah.
but then access to the opportunity from UTD.
Yeah.
So that was one of the high points. I mean, there's so many things that we just learned
Yeah.
in 3 days. This was jam-packed with content. Turbo Sibber's here.
Yeah.
All the things about Sibber and those opportunities. I really think, and I might be a little bit biased, but Contracting 101 and kicking that off with just how to figure out the process, cradle to grave, and where to start, and kind of that 101 process. So if you're looking at the videos, since Erica did mention a couple times to the entrepreneurs in the room that the videos will be available for you from here on out. So you can go back and listen to the content over and over as much as you'd like. I would say that would be probably the presentation to really watch and kind of look back on, because what Michael Pillar and Jorge kind of gave you, that was a very well-rounded presentation to kind of give you those. Well, I mean, I am a little biased since contracting is kind of my bread and butter as far as, things that I'm very familiar with as a city here. But I really think you gave a very in-depth presentation for the entrepreneur.
Thank you.
So,
Well, those are really great highlights and insights. So again, for all you entrepreneurs out there online and here live with us, hopefully the last 3 days have been great. Again, we went over Contracting 101 and Acquisitions 101. Really kind of gave you an idea of what it's like to go through the process if you're looking to venture coming into the dual use commercial space and working with the federal government. And then second day, we talked about those barriers to entry, those challenges that you are going to encounter. But, being an entrepreneur is about having grit, right? And you're not alone when you're looking at these barriers to entry. We have an entire ecosystem that you've met today that are offering opportunities and help. So from our university partners that just spoke today, UTSA, UTD, to our federal labs like AFRL, and our DoDX partners who are there to scout for innovation, Army Applications Lab, AFWorks, and others that are in this building. Just remember, they're here to help. So hopefully this was of value to you. We're always looking for ways to refine and further define how to be successful in defense innovation. So we're going to be wrapping things up here from this perspective. We're going to have a break for lunch. And some of us here have already signed up for Epic Office Hours that starts at 12:30. Be sure to jump online if you are part of the Epic Office Hours event here as we conclude the Defense Academy for fall 2022. So thanks again, everybody. You guys have been great. And if you have any questions, please reach out to Erica Colston, or you can reach out to me at the Center for Defense Innovation, Jorge Manresa, at jorgemanresa@capitalfactory.com. Reach out to me, and whatever I can do to help you or to open doors as you seek traction with government opportunities, we are here always to be at your side. So have a great day, everybody. Have a great weekend. And do not forget Epic Office Hours in just a few moments.